Welcome to another Bandology interview. Bandology is a Canadian nonprofit dedicated to more music for more kids via education, collaboration, and community.
Welcome to part 2 of Bandology's Year in Review video for 2023. Myself, Sandy Wright, and Ryan McKinnon are continuing to chat about our year that has just gone by and talk a little bit about what we're excited about that's coming up in 2024. Enjoy! So let's continue some of our top memories from the year. Ryan, what other things have we done this year that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we can do top memories from community events.
So community events, we do bucket drumming in the park at Bronte, Harborfront. We do Culture Days events, and a few. We did Ribfest this year, I think. We did Oakville or Burlington Ribfest. Yes. And when we do stuff like that, it's always cool. That tends to also have more of the team there because it's usually more of an event. And we're sort of, when you're outside and you have to it's a free drop-ins. So we have to seek out participants. So the team kind of has to split up and try to find people to participate, which is always fun. But I think one of my favorites from that was, and we might have the same answer for this, or at least I might remind you of this, but I think our favorite community event that I did was our From Flute to Tuba interactive music presentation that we did at the Oakville Center for the Performing Arts. You and I basically wrote a script and we brought a bunch of guests to talk about all the different instruments that we have in our instrument library, and then get audience questions, have them sort of learn about the instrument, play demos. And it was an hour, I think, we had on stage. And I was very nervous, partly because I don't know when the last time I was on stage talking and not at camp was, but also because we didn't know how many people would come. We didn't really have a clear idea. So we had a bunch of people came. Some of them came to our next event after being at that one, which was really cool. And it was really fun to go back and forth with the audience. We probably could have gone on for your percussion section for another 25 minutes because they just kept having questions, which was very fun. But yeah, and we had one of your students and another high school student come in and perform a little duet for us, which was really cool. So there's it was a multi sort of faceted thing, and it was very unique and not something that we would have been able to pull off, I think, before this year, and maybe something we might come back in a different way in the future, but it's definitely something that I'm really proud of that we pulled together because it felt like a high pressure thing and it went really well.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree. I think, and honestly, you're right. I did forget about that one. So yeah, that
I forgot about it until just now when I was what is my favorite community event? And then I went, oh,
yeah, that one definitely was up there. I agree. It was high pressure. I was nervous as well going in, and I was even more nervous when we found out that there was 100 people here before we went on stage. Yeah. So yeah, that was oh my God. But we settled in very quickly. At least I felt like we did.
Yeah.
As soon as we were out there for 2 or 3 minutes, nerves were gone. So yeah, it was cool.
And the guys at the center, all the backstage crew, they were all awesome and really welcoming and really helpful. Yeah. And I was really glad that they were there and they participated in our dress rehearsal. They asked us questions as they were standing behind desks and adjusting audio levels. And they were our sort of first test audience, and that was really fun.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from that, I would say the Nouveau one that we did at QE Park. That one,
our other Culture Days day.
Yeah, the other Culture Days one. Yeah, we did a Nouveau mixed with an intro to percussion workshop, and it was sort of just drop in every half hour ish. We'd have a bunch of people come in, and it also was very successful. We also had one or two of our band campers show up.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of running a session and we looked out the door and they were just standing in the doorway. We were oh my God. Yeah, so that was cool. So I would probably say that one. That one and the Performing Arts Center one.
It's always fun to do community. We do a lot of community bucket drumming workshops because it's really easy drop-in thing. And we love sort of getting to it's a really accessible one that anybody can participate in. So we try to get as much music out there. More music for more kids is our whole thing. So it's really fun to like do those. And I think there's something very, now that it's been a couple years of us doing that, I'm starting to associate summer with us at the Bronte Harborfront with a bunch of like all of our summer staff doing bucket drumming workshops. That started to become like facet of my summer. So that's those always, I always like sort of love that experience because it's sort of, it's the first big team thing I think we ever do in the summer, from that perspective, which was actually the thing I kind of want to ask next was sort of, what are your top memories from the team? Because we have a ton of awesome people that we work with every year. They do all sorts of different things. Like I mentioned Sarah Turner, our camping workshop coordinator, who's awesome, but we also have people come in for our events and doing advocacy, doing, are managing our finances so we know how much money we have, those kinds of things. All the bits that go into making these programs work and go into furthering our sort of goals of making sure more kids have access to music education, both in schools and out of schools. But what's your sort of favorite memory from that? With them, I guess is better phrasing of that. What's your sort of, that's team related?
I have, yeah. I mean, I did mention, which I'm sort of wishing I hadn't, the efficiency of our Adventure Valley workshops earlier.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a big one. But I would say, I guess, actually, I'll touch on because I did mention that I went to Suzuki during our Halton week.
Mm-hmm.
So Halton week of band camp is mainly my week, where I'm the head runner, if you will, of
camp director.
Of what's going on at band camp. And I had to, as I said, go to Suzuki daily, basically, for these workshops. So I think one of my big team memories is just like feeling super comfortable, like just being able to go, and come back and knowing that everything was fine, and daily also when I would come back, everyone was like, yeah, it was good. We got it all done. Don't worry about it. You don't need to be stressed or anything. And it was always like, okay, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I would say that one. This is a sort of a one-off solo single other team member, which I thought was cool this year, was I'd like to shout out Joseph, because Joseph and I got along quite well towards the end of the summer, and we ended up jamming a bunch, which now that I'm thinking about it, I can't believe we haven't jammed like at all, really.
That is strange. We do live in very different places, but it is also weird.
Yeah. So yeah, but Joseph and I we took a few days and we jammed a bit, and we were always planning on doing some recording stuff. So I still hope that happens. But yeah, it was cool to just hang out and play some like metal and rock music and do that together. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this one is maybe a negative memory for me, but it was sort of a fun team memory because it helped me not panic. But the first day of Guelph camp, which is the week I'm camp director, my alarm didn't go off, and we're supposed to get there early on the first day. So I was on time for camp. I want to preface that. I was very on time for camp. Heck, I was barely late, relatively speaking, but I was definitely later than everyone else had arrived. And I was the last person to arrive that day, and every single staff member stood in the front hallway and yelled like, "You're late" at me, or yelled, "You're fired" at me. Actually, I think it was "You're fired."
That's definitely what it was.
And I had a moment of like, I was very stressed. I get stressed when I'm late for things, but it was very funny. But it helped me relax. I'm like, okay, they're not all furious at me. They're laughing at the fact that of all the people, I was the one who had the tardy issue. I also live closer to Guelph than a lot of the people who were working with us. So it was, again, ironic. But yeah, and that week went really well, and everyone very much pulled together that week. It was very much, we had like it was a new environment. We were adjusting a lot of stuff, and everyone, I think, did a lot to adapt to the challenges that came up that week. And I was really happy with that because it was, it was the first one we'd done in Guelph. It was the one that I was sort of running. And I think that was tough.
Sandy, you called me at 7:45.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
That day when I was on the highway. I was like maybe 15 minutes out from the camp. And he was like, dude, my alarm just went off. I remember being like, it's okay. Don't worry. We're all going to be there soon. It's good.
Yes. And then I worried for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or half an hour. I can't remember how long it took me to get there. But I really think, but I think that was sort of the general tone of the whole summer was we were like with every complication that came up, every challenge that we had to like face and with programming or scheduling or just like, working with like all the different groups that we work with and making sure those partnerships are really strong. All those things, I think we did a really good job of rallying together and adapting and supporting one another. The Adventure Valley thing is a great example. And I think that's the bit that'll stand out to me this year is like how much we were able to like stick together and get everything done and have everything go well, even as like we were sort of pulling from like, people getting sick, things happening, people being like away for a period of time.
Lots of car trouble this summer. Lots of car trouble.
I think we lost 3 cars over the course of the summer.
People lost.
Yeah.
People lost tires. People lost. I don't even know. People lost keys. People lost
cars.
Cars
that stopped working. That was probably actually, if I think about the biggest challenge, I think transportation might have been the biggest challenge that we had this summer.
It was crazy.
And we did a really good job. But I think that's one of my favorite things is how we can we're able to rally. I think as an individual memory, we've worked with the Canadian National Institute for the Blind this fall, and a couple of those sessions have been me and our advocacy coordinator, Tamara, going up, and we're from the same neighborhood and went to the same schools, so we sort of know a lot of the same people, and she was here last year and it's been really cool to get to know her, and those drives are always fun because we get along, and it's we're driving an hour to get to Brampton, so it's a hike, and we have always kind of take the same route and go to Tim Hortons and grab stuff like that, and those have been fun one-on-one hangout periods on the way to and from work, and that's been cool. And it's great to have. She's great at being a support person at workshops, so having her there is awesome as from that perspective as well. She's definitely, I'll shout out Tamara for being really good at being the someone to support at workshops, because that's always something we need, is having more than just the workshop leader, and she's really, really good at coming in and just getting the kids to pay attention and getting them engaged. And she also is good at running workshops. She ran a bunch at our Adventure Valley, the first day of Adventure Valley even. And that was the day we were rained out and had to go inside to a brand new place and figure out how we're going to do our entire workshop inside, which is not something we usually have to do at a space that we don't know. And it's been really cool to get to do that.
Nice. Cool. Moving into the next one. I sort of wanted to talk to you about, because there was a lot of sort of good things and maybe some challenging things that occurred throughout this entire year. So is there one or two lessons learned this year that we can sort of maybe make better or continue to do the same for programming in 2024?
That's tough, because we're at the end of the year, so we've incorporated a lot of the lessons we learned over the summer. So I'm trying to think of the stuff that's sort of changed. But I think because of I said 147 workshops this year. That's way more than we had in 2022, and order of magnitude larger than we had in 2021 when we sort of started doing these kind of workshops when I started here. And we've had to work really hard to adjust and develop a system for how we schedule workshops and book workshops and debate with those. And I think the lessons we learned about how to make sure that communication is really clear and make sure that we're not overburdening individual people, which again, you already said about Adventure Valley, that was sort of the summation of, I think, those lessons over the summer, that is something that I think we're going to stick to, and we're employing in 2024, sorry, 2024, as we move sort of forward and like, hopefully do more workshops next year. And, we'll have a bigger summer team. We have people we can call on more this year, to like come support us at workshops in between the summer. And I think that's those lessons that we've learned about how to manage that time has been really important. I think I've learned how to set multiple alarms. That's my lesson individually. I think that's the big thing for me. I think also on a personal one, learning, and maybe you were talking about this a little bit with Oakville Halton Band Camp, learning to trust that other people are okay to do stuff and that like things will go well without you. Cause that's like tricky when you're like the one who's organizing it and you take a lot of ownership over that stuff. And you and I are both instructors, so we're doing a lot of that stuff. So it can be tricky to like feel like without us, it's going to go fine. And it did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
Good.
I think mine are relatively similar. I have one lesson that I think we still are attempting to, shape into the best way that we can is scheduling, and making sure that we're not overbooking when Sandy and I are the only ones doing anything, but as in running the program, so like Sandy said, we're going to have a lot more people next year, which is going to be so helpful. And I am so excited to have all those people come in. And then, having people come in and run workshops, maybe some of my friends, we'll see. And then having somebody come in and do the administrative stuff, which as a lesson learned for myself, that was something that last year I was very much like, you know what? I really want to take on this whole workshop thing. I want to do all of this. I want to do the scheduling. I want to do the admin stuff. I want to do the running of the workshops and all this, nonsense. And the lesson learned was that I don't want to do any of that. So it was a lot, and I'm happy I got to do it, but I definitely am not eager to do it again. So having somebody come in and do all of that would be awesome.
Yeah. It's always a lesson to sort of learn like the capacity you have, because oftentimes, especially like I said, we got a lot more workshops this year. So we were dealing with we didn't really know what the burden of that admin was going to be like. And if the trajectory had gone this, you probably would have actually been fine. But the trajectory went like this. And suddenly you were doing basically 2 full jobs instead of 1, just because we had so many people interested. And that's much different, more challenging, especially when we're trying to do Bandcamp and train staff for Bandcamp and build your council and training program for Bandcamp and do all these things. On that note, just as a Bandcamp, I do want to shout out some of the volunteers we had at Bandcamp that weren't music mentors and other people that came in, not just volunteers. We had some really awesome conductors. We had Colin Clark, the wonderful conductor of the Oakville Symphony Youth Orchestra, the Toronto Youth Wind Orchestra, and of great renown, I will say. He came in and did our Oakville Halton Bandcamp. Dorothy Vrieswick Kidd, head of music at John F. Ross, conducts Royal City Musical Productions last year, conducts the Cambridge Concert Band, all sorts of things. She came in and did our Guelph one. She was back from our last year where she was at Grand River. And this year we had Marsha Connolly from Blue Vale come in and do our workshop, our KW Bandcamp, which was at Blue Vale High School, Blue Vale Secondary School, collegiate, but was that was really, and they were all really great. We also had Sandra and Laura come in and support us during Oakville Bandcamp with kids to help us work with kids who needed more assistance. And that was awesome to be able to have them there and have them get the support they need. And I think they were a big contributor to having that week go smoothly. And I think, and we'd have them back, and hopefully they'll be able to come back if they want to, because they really became a part of like the Bandology community. It was really cool to have them there. And their support was really awesome. And I take the and our guest conductors. We had Dr. Latoya Webb, we had Dr. Cynthia Johnson Turner, we had Lauren Helmer from Eastwood. Latoya and Cynthia are both from Laurier. They're the conductor of the band, wind orchestra, and the dean of Laurier, respectively. And they both came in. Cynthia came in 2 weeks in a row to guest conduct, which was amazing and completely kind of unexpected. And her getting to bring her expertise and like knowledge into that stuff was really, having them come. It always enhances to have the guest conductors come in, but that was really, but getting three guest conductors that were just so experienced and had such like different perspectives from this two, our music directors for each week. It was really awesome. And we had a bunch of people come in and do sectionals, and there's too many to name because I could go on for another 20 minutes. But having everyone come in that kind of support's always really cool. And I didn't want to finish this without like shouting out all those people, because it's like, those are the people that we don't see every day and are coming in just like once or a couple times. And but they make a big difference in what we're doing. And we're really grateful for all their time. And Laurier Academy of Music Arts, I want to thank them for having us this year and next year.
In 2024.
And in 2024, because they've been great. And they reached out to us, and that's been a really cool partnership to sort of build over the course of the thing. And they're great hosts and have been really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're going to talk about some stuff that's just coming in 2024. So for everyone listening, this is what you have to look forward to. We have some new workshops. We have sort of a list of workshops that are going to be available for teens, so from grades 7 to 12. Those workshops include a rhythm workshop, which can be great when it's paired with the listening workshop. There's a drumline workshop. This actually is going to reopen probably towards the spring of 2024. Yeah, nothing really new else on that one. But then there's also a percussion ensemble workshop. Now that we have all of these wonderful percussion instruments, we can do workshops for percussion ensemble. Then there's also this other one that we've decided to move forward on, which is the audition training program. So if you're auditioning to schools, if you're thinking about auditioning to schools, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. And I think you should check it out. Then we have a list of other workshops that are from grades 1 to 6. So we have sort of our classic boomwhackers, composing for kids, instrument petting zoo. We've talked about that a few times with the Nouveau instruments. Tour of the classical percussion section. We've also talked about that a few times. And then we have, lastly, our music for young kids, which is for kids in kindergarten and grade 1. So that is a huge list of just various new things that we're doing this year. And I think it'd be awesome if you guys checked it out.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get to do a lot of those ones, of the new ones, because it's some stuff we've done and like at camp and have gone really well. And we realized we could turn into something that we can bring into schools and bring to like community ensembles, or even like our bucket drumming workshop. It's like there's a lot about teamwork and collaboration in there, and that can work in like corporate settings and things like that. Because who doesn't want to like, be dressed in business casual and slam on a plastic bucket for an hour? Exactly. That sounds genuinely very fun. But it's really cool to get to sort of do those new things. And one of the coolest things about a lot of those is the sort of opportunities we're getting to do with like organizations in the community. I mentioned we work with the Halton Down Syndrome Association. We're continuing that. We're doing a bunch of workshops with them. So you can look on their website to find out more in a couple weeks and sign up, because we're starting those up middle of January, I think. That'll be in Milton. And we're continuing working with the Canadian National Institute for the Blind at our workshops in Brampton, which have been really awesome and really cool to like, work with such a varied group of like kids and teens, and they've been really welcoming and had been really great and had a ton of fun every single time we went out. And that's been really cool.
They haven't even just necessarily been kids or teens. I think there was one or two 19 and 20-year-olds at the first one. So yeah, it's like everyone.
Yeah. And we got parents there, and they have volunteers. And I think the guy who is the representative for this sort of region of the CNIB has participated in one. And that was very fun because any sort of older adult we invite to do it tends to get really nervous really quickly because they often haven't played music in a really long time and might remember a really evil piano teacher in their past, which, you know, a lot of people have those. I am not one of those, and I try very hard not to be one of those. Just want to preface that, but it is a thing that people have had. So it was very cool to convince him to like participate and hang out for a little longer than he normally would. But those are really cool. And as always, and again, we're getting to participate, collaborate with the Laurier Academy of Music and Arts, which is really exciting. We're going back this March break to do the March break music camp, which is for kids in grades 1 to 6. It's going to be I'm so excited to go back. It's going to be different this year. We've got other new sort of guest workshops, new activities planned, as well as some of like the classics that we do every single year that we'll sort of update and adjust. And I'm just really excited to be back. It was a really fun week. It's going to be crazy, but I think it'll feel more settled this year because we know it can go well. And I'm really excited to come back for that in March 11th to 15th. March 11th to 15th.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be good. We have a few trips to Laurier planned again.
Mm-hmm. We're going to see a concert, go to a class.
Yes. And this year's concert is supposed to be, it was just there and now I've lost it. I don't remember. Anyway, the concert is going to be good.
Yeah. I know for sure, if I remember correctly, my clarinet professor from University of Peter Shackleton is in that concert.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I think it's Anna Ronai and one other person whose name I'm forgetting, but it's going to be very fun. I was excited when Rebecca from Laurier Academy of Music and Arts was talking about it. I was very excited.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So there's going to be a few trips to Laurier to do that. We have a few new workshop guests coming in that we didn't have last year. We do also have the historical guy that we talked about earlier, who is potentially coming back. So you might be in for another one of those. And then, as Sandy said, we also have various amounts of things that we usually do between the two of us that we're going to be doing again.
The Nouveau instrument one will be new for March Break Music Camp. We got those instruments around the same time our music instrument library instruments started coming in. So we were able to do that in the summer and in the fall, but we didn't get a chance to do it at March Break Music Camp. So we're going to get to bring those in this year. And I think that's going to be a real big hit.
Yeah.
And
yeah. How do you reserve a spot, Sandy? Can you tell me?
You can sign up now to reserve a spot for March Break Music Camp. Registration is open. You can sign up on our website. You can go to bandology.ca, find our March Break Music Camp page, and there's a big button that's a big link that says click here to register, and you click that. And if you go on the Laurier Academy of Music and Arts and you go to their March Break programming, you will also find another link that will take you to that page so you can register for the thing. Right now, when you register, payment isn't required immediately, but it will be required in the middle of January. And anybody who registers after that, payment happens at registration. And you'll get a reminder of that after you register then. So, but if you reserve your spot now, you have a spot as long as you pay eventually when that part of the form opens. And it's going to be really fun. And nice. We already have a few registrations, which is really exciting. And hopefully we have some returning campers. That's also been a cool part of this year. We've had a lot of returning campers. Yeah. I think like 15% of our campers were back from a different camp each time. Yeah. So that was really cool.
The next thing is instrument lending library. we're doing just more of that, in general. So rent, go to the link on the website, fill out the form, take out instruments. We got a bunch of stuff that is really good. We have a bunch of percussion stuff that is really good. I'm a percussionist, so I'm just going to advocate for that, a lot. But we do have a lot of good stuff. We have two sets of timpani. It's only 2 drums. It's one set of 2 drums and another set of 2 drums. So we don't have a full set of 4 tims, but we do have timpani. We have all the mallet instruments. We have a couple drum kits, Beery sax, tuba, all these things that are like harder to come by. Bunch of flutes, bunch of clarinets, trumpets, trombones, everything. So go and take a look at what we got, and definitely fill out the form and rent it out, because semester 2 is a long semester. So you should have an instrument for that long of a semester that you can play.
And we already have some that are rented out. Like, people have already started to book them out for the winter term. So they're going. They are going. Especially some of the more popular ones. It's $10 for the semester, right? We do charge like a nominal fee, but it's like $10 and they get it the whole time.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's less than I pay for the keyboard stand I haven't returned to Long McQuaid in 6 months.
Nice.
The other thing, we talked a lot about like working the team, awesome team that we had this year. And we've mentioned that we're hiring in 2024, and we're probably going to be hiring more people. We're finishing up defining those roles right now, but that hiring will start in the spring of 2024, probably starting in March or April for some of them, depending on the position. So look out for those. We'll need more team. We need more people to come do workshops and be on our programming team. We need people to help us behind the scenes, and we need people to help us, do outreach and meet, connect with the community. We need people to, run our social media, because if Ryan and I tried to do that, it would be a disaster. And somebody else has to keep the company running behind the programming, and it's not us either.
Yeah, exactly.
If you send us and make us do music, we're great.
Anything else?
Maybe not. But so we're going to be doing that, more of that in 2024. So look out for those. We'll make an announcement when those jobs go up. It's really fun to be part of this team. So we have a really strong community. So hopefully, if you want to bring more music to more kids, be part of Bandology, sort of like work to expand access to music education.
And this is the job for you.
This is the job for you.
Yeah. The last thing is Bandcamp. Bandcamp happening again. I think registration is open as far as I'm concerned.
Same deal as March Break Music Camp.
Yeah. We're doing Halton, Guelph, Kitchener again. Mm-hmm. Fill out the form. Register. It's going to be fun. We got a lot of stuff coming in. As we sort of talked about actually earlier with Lisa briefly, for returning campers, we're going to be doing some newer stuff to make sure that, everyone is always engaged, and there's always going to be sort of new things going on, so that we're not just recycling previous content that we've used. So so it's going to be good. So definitely come and register for that.
That's part of our growth thing too, where we want to make sure kids can grow. And at a certain point, you need to try new things. And we're always adding things, but I think this year we're going to be adding a little more, so we can, because now we have more returning campers and they're a little older. We want to provide something for them that's like fresh and new, and will, be exciting, and hopefully maybe help them become better musicians. The dates for those, they've shifted a little bit this year. Bandcamp Halton, as always, is the second week in July. It's July 8th to 12th. Bandcamp Guelph is going to be July 26th to 22nd to 26th. And Bandcamp KW is going to run from July 29th to August 2nd. So this is the first time we've gone into August a little bit. But those are the dates, and I'm really excited to be back and doing all three of those again, we have sort of established, we did a lot of growth last year, and it's really exciting to sort of be able to establish that more and really settle in and build more connections in that community and hopefully get more kids to come out. I think it's a great time generally for us, and all the kids have fun. So I think if you want your kid to sort of get interested in music, if they're in our Bandcamp junior age, which is again grade 1 to 6, and want them to have a chance to explore a lot of different things, Bandcamp junior is great for them. And if you've got a kid or you are a teen just starting or in the middle of high school and growing and learning on your instrument, Bandcamp's a great place to do some more of that over the summer. And our instrument library will be available over the summer for our campers if you need an instrument because you can't take one from school or have to return another one. It's going to be really great. As always, if you're in grade 11 or 12, we're always looking for music mentors to come and help be a leader in our camps. And we have a form for that. You can actually start signing up for that now, for that and for March Break Music Camp music mentors. So that's there too. So thank you, Ryan, for hanging out with me for the last little bit and doing this year in review. I think we're going to do more of these sort of wrap up things. Maybe not once a month, but maybe every couple of months, just go over what we've done to just sort of touch base and, be able to communicate to you guys in our community what Bandology has been up to, and to sort of celebrate all the different things that we've been able to get up to. So look out for those, continuing as What's Your Forte in 2024. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Go check out our interviews with Rebecca Jordan Miller, the director of Laurier Academy of Music and Arts, and Amanda Kine from KW Glee and her own music career and teaching and all sorts of things, to learn more about some of the people that we've gotten to know over the last little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your 2023, which is, I don't think, very long, but enjoy the last few days and have a great start to your 2024, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, definitely. I'm working on them, folks. Don't worry. I'm trying to get us to do more of these podcasts together. So we'll see if we have more of those episodes in the future.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, you can learn more about our organization at bandology.ca, which features information about music education, advocacy and research, and our Play a Gig and Bandcamp programs. Follow us on social media for more videos, performance, and interviews on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.